Okay, so time to go home. I thought I'd show you my home. Goodbye, Maggie's. Oh, and there goes someone else. So it's like 5 o'clock in the afternoon, so I'm actually going to be hitting peak hour traffic, which is not going to be so much fun. But if I go, I'm going to see if I can hack the system. If I go out the normal way, I end up needing to turn right, which in Australia is against the traffic, obviously, because everybody else is coming on the other side from left. So this way, I think I can get out. Looks like I'm not the only one that's going to do it. Get out and go with the traffic rather than against it. So, had a huge day today. We learnt the new customer relationship management program, which is really cool. It's a very, very efficient system. It's similar to a system I used before when I was working with Bob, but this is more tailored to us and obviously more tailored to real estate. So, yep, this is going to work a treat. All I need is for someone to let me in. So I'm against the parklands again, and I was heading south, but now I'm about to turn around and head north once I can move. So this will be a long trip home because I'm going the same way as everyone else, basically, out of the city. So in future, I'll be avoiding this time of day. Probably pretty much after like 3:30, 4 o'clock that peak hour kicks in, because that's when parents are out picking kids up, or just after 3. It's a gorgeous time of night though. Thank you. If they're gonna let me in, thank you. And here I go. Awesome. Thanks, guys. So we're just going back the way I came this morning. I'm going to go exactly the same way, but I'm going to be heading home, heading north out of town. So this over here, those trees over there are the Botanic Gardens. Winter's coming, so we've got, well, it was actually the first day of winter here on the 1st of June, so we've got the deciduous trees, the European and North American trees that we've all planted have started losing their leaves, but should have nearly lost all their leaves, but we've had a really mild autumn and quite a warm autumn, so winter's kind of not feeling like it's ready here, although we had 8 degrees for a couple of days in a row at the beginning of this week, so that was a sign of what was to come, but we don't get anything obviously as cold as where you guys are. So occasionally you're going to see, I'll change this a little bit, occasionally you're going to see, let me see if I can, there we go, you're going to see scooters on the side of the road. I'm not sure if that's one there behind the pole or not, but the council, Adelaide City Council, which is the one that includes downtown or the CBD, has brought out electric scooters that you can ride on with helmets. In Australia, it's compulsory to wear a helmet if you ride a bike or on any wheels that are exposed, that you're exposed. So a motorbike, a bicycle, any roller skates, roller blades. There's a scooter on the left. Anyway, so they've got these new scooters which are electric, and I understand you pay by the kilometre kind of thing. It's all done through your you can pick them up and use them wherever you want. So you grab one, and wherever you finish with it is where you leave it, and you lock it's locked and stops charging you by putting the helmet back on the front. We may see some as we drive, it'll depend. There's maybe not, but they'll be on the parkland side if they are, which are a really good idea because Adelaide's quite small, it's very, very flat, and it just makes getting around town much easier. And for short trips, it's a really good idea. You see people using them absolutely everywhere. Let's see if I can see any on the side. I'll point them out to you, but you may find them. There's some orange ones, there's some purple ones that I've seen. I don't think I've seen any other colours, and I don't know what the colours mean, but I haven't actually looked into it a lot. I've just had a quick chat with Regan, and he was telling me about them and how good they are. I don't know whether he's used one. I probably won't use one, but they're a good idea. That's a bus stop there. That's a City Ring Route bus stop. And we're about to head into all the main arteries. We're about to leave town. So I'm on the east of town at the moment. And I need to get out of this lane pretty darn quickly because this splits up and heads in different directions. But I'm not the only one. I don't know if you saw those signs. So that Northcote Terrace, which is the one on the right there, goes up to all the northeastern suburbs, and this goes to the northern suburbs and the western suburbs. So this is the ring route coming around Grove Terrace, it's called. Greyhound. And so we're heading due west, and if you keep going straight ahead, it'll take you down by the entertainment centre, around past the aquatic centre, down into the entertainment centre, and then you can head straight out toward the beach. Whereas I'm going to head up Main North Road, which is obvious where that goes. I hope it's not too jiggly for you. I keep forgetting to change over the holder. I've got two holders. One goes on the dash, this one goes on the window, and it's got like this little bendy arm, and it sort of suspends it a bit, so it's a little bit jiggly. So it's not so good for videoing, but means I can have it on the side and not have it in the middle of the dash. Drove a few times, and I think I did it once and went never again, but it's a nice sunset. I can't wait till you guys are here. It's going to be great. Well, I can wait, of course, but I'm so looking forward to it. Getting life on track and making it normal, making that just what we are. 5 o'clock. You text me quite early today, Keith. 4:30 your time. You haven't told me you're meditating, so I guess you're just walking back to bed. So all those guys are heading west. This is the last. Oh, there's one more road at the next set of lights which takes you north as well, but it's Prospect Road. That's down where I used to live, where Jaden's living at the moment. and just a couple of blocks in, but it's a 50k zone, and it means, and it's really just designed to take people into the suburb. So what Australia has done, and I think you guys probably would be the same, they've changed it used to be just 60 kilometers an hour everywhere unless you were on a main highway or a freeway. Now what they've done is they've got 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110 zones, and they're all signposted, so you don't need to worry about it. But the side streets where there's houses and they're just normal residential suburb streets, that's 40k zone, so keeps everyone slow because there's families and cats and, or, you know, pets and stuff. And then some of the, like Prospect Road, which is a 50k zone, so that's kind of the roads that you use to get into those suburbs, those more quieter streets. But the main streets like this one, Main North Road, Robe Terrace, everywhere that we've been except the laneway so far is 60, because they're like the artery roads. And then once you get out of town, or if you get onto an expressway or the freeway, then they'll each have their own limits depending on what it is. Like this road, I think Main North Road, when you get out of town a bit further, turns into a 70 zone where it becomes dual carriageway, where you've got like 2, 3, 4 lanes one way and the same going the other. That's when you hit like a 70 or even an 80. But generally speaking, all the main roads, like the artery roads like this one, are 60 kilometres, and I think that's about 40 miles an hour from what you've been telling me, Keith. Wow, look at that sunset. We get the most extraordinary sunsets here. You're going to love them. Don't know why ours are any more different to anywhere else. I mean, Australian sunsets in general, but Adelaide's sunsets are beautiful. I think it's probably because there's the peninsula, the Gulf. There's actually, no, I don't know. I don't know why. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, these are all the car yards, and this is where I was this morning. There you go, that's the 60 zone. And that's told you there because there's been roadworks. There's roadworks down this road during the evening, which is a good thing because this is a very messed up road. It's full of patches and people are complaining about it, apparently. There's a lot of development happening in Adelaide. I've been stunned. The Adelaide CBD is full of development. They've knocked down massive buildings, and they're rebuilding, and they're renovating, and it's incredible the amount of works that are going on in Adelaide. Adelaide was a pretty stable, consistent, you know, nothing much changed for like the last, I don't know, 30 or 40 years. And in the last couple of years, it's been, I mean, I can't believe the changes since I've just been gone, which was, I left in February 2019 was when I first went to Canada, and didn't go back, obviously, and that's been a big change. There's been big changes since then. So, this is that dealership on the left where I bought the Prius, the Toyota, just to give you a landmark so you can remember. We're going up here. Get to see some of our buildings and stuff. I am absolutely starving. I had breakfast, but I didn't have much in the way of lunch. What did I have for breakfast even? I don't remember. It feels like a long time ago. So there's our Hungry Jack's on the right coming up, that orange on the right hand side, that big red sign with the yellow. And that's an offshoot, I think, of Burger King, for Hannah's benefit. I don't know whether you guys eat that sort of stuff. I don't, but just out of interest's sake. And up here on the big signs, there's Target on the right. This is the area which has the 4 shopping areas. So there's Target, which you guys are familiar with, Woolworths and Coles are our two big grocery stores. On the left-hand side, you can see that bank, that tower of signs. So just looking down at them, Woolworths and Coles are grocery store. The reject shop is like a dollar store kind of thing. BWS stands for beer, wine, spirits. It's gone behind the Stobie pole, but BWS is alcohol. And in Toronto or Canada, all the liquor, the beer and wine could be sold at grocery stores, but the liquor had to be sold through what's called LCBO, which is run by the province. We don't have any of that. None of it's supplied by the state. We don't have provinces, we have states like you guys, but BWS is just an independent company. There's a whole bunch of them. Bendigo Bank, Westpac, Beyond Bank, they're Commonwealth Bank and People's Choice Credit Union. They're all obviously financial institutions. And then T with the little circle means Telstra, and they are our main telecommunications company. They own all the infrastructure. Everything else you can go with other providers, but they lease or rent the lines from Telstra. So if anything goes wrong hardware-wise or line-wise, then Telstra come out and fix it. So I've always stuck with Telstra because they have the best coverage in terms of mobile reception as well, cell phone reception. But they also, when anything goes wrong, your provider is going to have to contact Telstra anyway. So it's kind of, for me, it was bypassing a problem, an extra step. And that was important for us when we lived in the hills, because the Adelaide hills are extremely undulating and deep valleys, tall peaks, and mobile phone reception doesn't get through to every area. So you're relying on your landlines, and most people in Australia, new homes don't come with a landline anymore, unless you request it and you've got to pay extra, something I'm learning now. But so most people just use their mobiles, or you guys call them cell phones, we call them mobiles. And so what I found by living up there, everything that I had a problem was to do with my landline. And if I went with Optus or any of the other companies, they all had to get Telstra out anyway. So I ended up transferring back to Telstra for everything, and they just gave me a good deal. They had a really bad reputation for so many years, and they fixed it. They were renowned for being tardy with respect to follow-ups, and the workmanship was pretty slack, and they kind of had the monopoly. But as other providers came in, they had to clean up their mess because they were losing a lot of clientele. So they fixed it, and now they're fixing it again. They're streamlining some stuff, which means that instead of having offshore phone support, they're actually going to bring it back into Australia, which is the best thing that could happen, because one of the feedback that they've received, some of the feedback they've received consistently, and I've added to that, I've joined in with this, is that sometimes you can get an operator you just simply cannot understand. So they're over in another country, a non-English speaking country, and their accents are so strong that you just can't understand them. And over a telephone, you've got no other way of, if you're in person, it's a little bit easier because you can lip read, and get a bit of a sense of them. But if they're on the phone, it's useless. So they're bringing that all back on shore, which is a really, really, really smart move. So this is an area called Enfield, which is a sort of middle class area. There's nothing super special out here. There's some housing trust, which is government housing for lower socioeconomic families who can live, new homes or relatively new homes at a fixed price because they're on pensions or disability. So that it's not just for unemployed, it's for families or individuals who need the support because they will never earn a proper income, or an average income even, not proper, an average income, because of their inability to work in a job. So that's what a lot of these houses on the right are for, and they're sort of dotted throughout, they're not all in the one spot. And we are home. Not home, but I'm back at Bessy's. Oh, her little unit. So talk to you guys soon.